Okay, it seems like I'm live. Am I live? People, if I'm alive, if I'm live, say something. Let me know that you can see. Hold on. Where is my? Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Yes. So it seems like I'm live. 3 people watching. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you can see my screen, if you can hear me. Ciao Domenico, what's up? Okay, you can hear me, right? Great. I guess it's fine. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna start doing a little bit of modeling today. I have about 50 minutes time that I want to spend doing some small modeling and I don't know, rendering exercise. And yesterday I was watching this documentary called, I think it's called Objectified. Objectified. Yes, there you go. And it's a documentary from 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗹𝗃. He's a director that I just discovered, and he's really good. He's been doing very good movies, and as of now, I think he's streaming all of the movies that he has done because of COVID for free, and so people can simply go and check them out. But anyway, one part of these what do you call it? Documentary was about 𝘊𝗺𝗻. 𝘊𝗺𝗻 is a great designer. 𝘊𝗺𝗻. Yes, 𝘊𝗺𝗻. And I saw this picture. Like, I saw this little radio that he was talking about during the documentary. And I thought, why don't I try and render it? I mean, it's a very simple model. As you can see, it's like very basic geometry. But there are a lot of subtle details that we might be able to recreate and reproduce. And anyway, yesterday I already started to try it out, so I created all the textures, and I was like, maybe this might be something interesting to do for you guys so that you can see how I model this basic stuff. And also, like, I'm a little bored, you know, I'm at home and I'm not doing much. I just want to spend time with you guys. So let's get it started. First of all, I'm going to create a box, and I'm going to squeeze this box sort of like into the proportion of this radio. Let's just keep this as a reference so that I can go in and out. I'm gonna leave this down here so that I can see it. There we go. So I'm not gonna be able to see your comments for a while, but that's okay. Good. So I guess that this is going to be okay. Let me change the display. I'm actually going to convert with the C key this geometry to a editable poly UI to invert the selection. I'll delete the back, and I'm going to create, first of all, the cutout holes, and then the hole here in the middle. Let's do that. Create a little cylinder, rotate the cylinder 90 degrees, make it a lot smaller. Let me do this operation from the front so that I see what it's happening. So this should be something like this. Maybe the hole is slightly smaller. I'm not minding any sides or any, like, I'm not trying to be precise. I want to have something that resembles this as close as possible, and then I can scale it later when I'm done. So the cylinder only has 16 rotation segments. This is not enough. I'm going to need to have a little bit more. This looks a little bit better. and I'm going to drop this inside a cloner. Now the cloner, what it's happening is that it's duplicating this into the X direction in this case. I don't want that. I want this cloner to duplicate, in this case, in the Y direction. Let me see, is it this? Let me go in that direction first. There we go. And these are, if I don't mistake, 11 copies. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. So I'm gonna copy here. I'm gonna write here 11. As you can tell, this is too big as of now. So that means that the cylinder has to be a lot smaller. Let's see, 3. Good. And then the gap in the cloner can be a lot smaller, maybe 15. That looks a little bit more correct. Great. I'm gonna drop this into another cloner, and this, in this case, the cloner is doing what it was doing before, but I want the cloner to move vertical, so I'm gonna 0 this position and just simply adjust this in the same size as the other cloner. What did we use? 15, so in this case it's minus 15, and I'm gonna make also 11 copies. Oh, look at that. That was super fast. Good. So does this look centered to you guys? What do you think? Let me quickly... Yeah, it kind of looks alright. Let me just move this slightly upward. There we go. That looks okay. And then I'm gonna take one of these cylinders, which I've already created. I'm just gonna make a copy. I'm going to move this more or less in this side, make it a little bit bigger, maybe something like that. I fear like the gap in between the geometry, it's a little bit too big. It's okay, we can fix that by scaling this slightly and by moving, oh, hold on, let me see, what's the sides here? Let's make it 360 round. And so we know that this needs to be, if this is 360, 360 divided by 2, it's 180. So this should be 90 to be in the middle. Good. And this, we just have to eyeball it. I think it's good. It's good enough. Now, this element, since it's a little bit bigger, I'm going to need a lot more subdivisions. Let's see, 80, that doesn't look good yet. 100. Is this 100? Smooth, yeah. Let me see in 3D. Yeah, that looks smooth enough. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, first of all, reduce the height segments because we only need one. I'm going to select the cloner and say C to convert. Okay, so now I have all these cloners. Let me select all the cloners and click C to convert the cloners as well. And then we're left with all these cylinders. Let me just do a search for cylinder. There we go. Now I can take all the cylinders. I can simply convert them, right click and say connect objects and delete, and I'm going to center this so that this is only one object. Great. So now all I have to do is go back to my hierarchy, object hierarchy, get rid of all the things that I don't need. And I'm going to drop everything into a Boolean operation. Now this might take a second because obviously, you know, this Boolean operation is going to take a second. My computer, it's not one of the fastest. I'm planning to get a new computer as soon as the apocalypse is over. If we survive, I'll get a new computer. That's my promise to you guys. Alright, baby. Alright, baby. Alright. Come on, don't be shy. And that's how we're going to fall asleep, I guess. So guys, how's your day? Let's talk a little bit about your day. How's your day going? Let's see if you are writing something. Hi Irma, hi Alejandro, hi Gorgeous, hi Dhruv, hi Samir, hi Renato. How are you guys? Everything okay? Yeah, I'm just, I don't know, I'm keeping myself busy, put it this way. It's already 8 minutes that I'm streaming this thing. Is my Boolean operation dead? It looks like it. Should we play some Napolitan music? What do you say? I can do that, but I cannot make you listen to the Napolitan music that I'm going to play. Okay, so let's look for something good. Let's look for 𝘄𝗶𝗳𝗃, 𝘊𝗃 and Mario Merola. If any of you want to have a little bit of an understanding of where I come from, you should watch and listen to this movie of Mario Merola and 𝘊𝗃, 𝘄𝗶𝗃, because it's a beautiful song. It's about the love for the city of Naples. The Boolean operation is dead. No, I cannot listen to the music. What is happening here? Did I crash the... Did I crash Cinema? Cinema is not responding. Why are you doing this, Cinema? Why are you doing this? Very high, but it's 4.6%. I guess it's going. No, senza cinema, fornisce 3D. Alright, you know what? I'm going to kill it. Task manager, and we'll start again. Not responding. End task. Sorry, buddy. Let's start it again. Yes, I know. That's the beautiful thing about going live. Let's start this again. We're gonna be luckier this time. Okay, so I'm gonna convert this again. UI to delete this. And let's take it one step at a time, right? First of all, let's drop a cylinder. I'm going to rotate the cylinder 90 degrees, stick it through the geometry, and let's squeeze it down. Now I forgot already the sizes that I was using before, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep this a little bit lower poly, maybe 20 subdivisions. And then I'm gonna drop this inside a cloner. As we say, the cloner is cloning in the wrong direction. Yeah, let's just go with this. 11, and then 11 I'll have to recenter it a little bit, maybe a space of 20. And then I'll drop this also in another cloner, but this time we move in the other direction. There we go. And we'll make these 11 copies. And what did we say here? Did we use? Now it's 20. This is not gonna work out, but it's okay. I'm gonna make the cylinder a little bit smaller, say 4. Does it look like the picture of Dieter Rams? More or less. I'm just gonna move all these cloners up to this edge here. And I'm going to try and actually, let me see if I can Boolean these two together. Will my computer explode? Will it? it might explode, huh? Oh no, oh no, it's doing it again. Hi Diego, no cap, no more superpowers. Ugh. I know, it's true, I should wear it, but you know, it starts to get warm here, so I'm gonna wear it on top of my earpiece. Oh, it's working, it's working. Okay, so all I have to do is invert the sequence, and then I should have a Boolean operation, hopefully. Give it a minute. Come on, cinema. Everybody's rooting for you! Yes! Yes! Great. Okay, so you know what? We're going to create a single object. C. We'll convert this. Did I click the C? How is this look? Is it? It's good. Come on, cinema. The whole world is watching, cinema. The whole world is watching. The whole world is going, cinema, 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 cinema. Okay, got converted. I'm so happy. Fantastic. Amazing. Good. What do we have here? Great. So let's do the same. This time we use a cylinder. Yes, it's amazing. I know. I'm so happy. Not because you have to understand that the main goal of doing a live like this is to reduce the possibility of doing a figura di merda, which in Italian means to look bad on camera. Put it this way. Let me raise the subdivisions to 100. And this looks good enough to me. Yes, I'm going to Boolean the shit out of this object. Let's do this. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Let's drop this into a Boolean operation again. We need to invert the geometry. Perfect, and now we have our base geometry. Great, so my job here is done. I convert this into a, hold on, the cylinder, I can actually throw it away, and I'll just keep the base geometry. Base geometry. Now, the only issue that I found myself experiencing with Cinema 4D when doing Boolean operations is that sometimes the edges that are created by the Boolean operation, they seem to be extruding in weird directions. So let me actually select everything and just extrude. And if I switch to face mode and I select everything, ah, look at that. It works. Okay, perfect. Never mind what I said. Sorry, Cinema 4D, don't sue me. So UL to make a loop selection around the geometry. I want to select the edges. E to extrude. And then I'm gonna simply say right click, close polygon hole. Then I'm gonna select all these edges down here. Whoops, I missed some. And I'm going to do an extrusion. Hey, Mikey, what's up, Mikey? Yo, man, I'm about to drop some serious box modeling knowledge. Right click, close polygon hole. I'll take this geometry, I extrude it, and so I make space for whatever it has to happen here. And then I'm gonna say UL, select all the edges that we have. And then let me check it out. Yeah, it's kind of like rounded. MS to create a bevel. But this bevel, of course, needs to have quite a few subdivisions. Maybe I'll give it 6. And also I'm noticing that the font tag of this geometry is behaving in a weird way. So let me just flatten it to something like 10, because 10 it's too much. 20, yes, that's good. And actually, let me give it a little bit more body by extruding these points a little bit further. Let me center this to the geometry, and I want to put this on the 0. 0. Drop it to floor, so now it's on the floor. Very good. Maybe this is a little bit too thick, but it's okay. KL to make a loop cut in the middle. UL to select this edge. MS to chamfer it a little bit. Now this chamfer has too many subdivisions. We only need 0 actually. And I'm going to make it 1 because I like round numbers. UL to select all these points. But you see now that the geometry is reversed. Okay, let's see what the problem is. Let's select all the geometry. UR to you see, so as I was telling you, not all the geometry is looking in the right direction. It doesn't matter in this case because I'm not going to have to round these edges, but this is a problem because eventually I would expect all the edges to be looking in the right direction. So you see, Maxon, I wasn't lying. UL to select this, MT to extrude it towards the inside, and then UL to select these edges, MS to smooth them, and to create some subdivisions. I'm just gonna turn this number up, maybe 4 it's enough. There we go. And let's try to find, well actually I don't need to find it, it's very straightforward, the same camera angle. I'm gonna define a very I know, the hat, I put it on top of everything. I'm gonna center the camera to the geometry and keep it very straight. And also 0 it on the position. I like to work with round numbers, and so there we go. And 100. So the camera now is fixed. I'm gonna right click and say rigging tags protection so that I cannot move it anymore. I'm gonna drop a, let me drop a cube, because with this cube I'm going to, I know Irma, I can feel your pain. I love it. I love 𝘂𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗲. Drop it to the floor, C to convert it, and then I'm going to simply delete these faces. UR to invert them. I'm gonna scale the model up, drop it to the floor, maybe scale it in that direction. And I'm going to drop this model inside a subdivision surface, so to create sort of like a limbo. KL to add some subdivisions. There we go. And as it is, we should not be able to see any rounding or anything in the back. But you know, this might change later. We'll have to see. Good. Maybe I'll also move the geometry further away. Let me see. Perfect. Great. I'm gonna hide it because I don't need to see this stuff. Now let's create the wheel. for this element here. So I'm gonna, how much time do I have? Oh, time is running out. I have a call in 30 minutes, and so I wanna rush through this and see if I can make it happen. Let me squeeze this up. Now, you might be looking at me and be like, Fabio, what are you doing? You're modeling, you're super not precise. What is happening, man? We're supposed to be learning from you. Why you're doing these things, Fabio? The reality is that I like to model by eye because you end up creating those real world imperfections that exist, you know, and that sometimes you see them in 3D models because people snap everything to they snap everything, you know? They just snap. And yeah, I don't want to snap. Okay, so I'm gonna reduce the height here and also reduce the fong angle to something like 20. I'm gonna make this a little bit flatter. That's good. Then C to convert it, UL to select the edge, MS to make it round. Beautiful. But I think that the geometry is too big. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit. I scale it down. Fantastic. KL to cut a loop selection, which should be more or less this size, I guess. Maybe. I'm gonna select all the surfaces here, make a little extrusion, and that will leave space to the element here in the middle. Fantastic. And I'm gonna right click and say split so that I have a cylinder, and I'm gonna call this 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗹𝗶 because I don't really know what that is, but it's a 𝘂𝗋∼, and no, I don't want to render 𝘂𝗋, and the 𝘂𝗋 I'm going to move it, T, scale it down a little bit, and then MT to extrude it a little bit. That's too much. Maybe, I don't know. UL to make a loop selection, and MS to round it up. Maybe should be a little bit more round. Let's try with 5. Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. I'm keeping it. Okay, so now I have this element. Actually, I'm going to copy this element. I'm going to scale it in length and scale it down in diameter. You see? I know a very big word, diameter. Where do I put this? Okay, I have the impression that this might be a little bit too big or too small. I have no idea. Let me scale it up a little bit, 20%, make this copy up. Now all I have to do, since these are in line, I have to line them with the center. You see? Man, my mom used to say, you're a genius and you're beautiful inside. And she was right. She's right. 85%, yeah, maybe rotate it a little bit. The proportions don't look right, but I think that the reason why they don't, it's because this element, it's a little bit too big. Good to see you. Someone else was sitting at your desk a minute ago. At my desk. Let's scale this up a little bit. 120, 20. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, I'm done. Perfect. Now let's take this geometry. Actually, let's take these two elements, right click, connect objects and delete. And then I'll take this and this, put them on the side, and I put these into another Boolean operation. And now we're just gonna subtract one to the other. Oh, what happened? What happened here? Why is the... Oh, okay, I see why this is happening. This is happening because this geometry, let me solo it, it's probably not closed. So let's try. Right click, close polygon hole. Let's undo this. And let's do the same thing with this. Close polygon hole, close polygon hole. Let's see if that works. Oh, maybe the geometry is not intersecting. Fabio, you genius. I apologize on behalf of the whole 3D world. But yes, now it is intersecting. Great, so now we have the base geometry, I guess. No, we still have to model these little elements up here. This should be easy. Don't you just like it when you say, yeah, that's super easy, I'll do it in a second, and then 75 minutes later you're still trying to figure out how to make the little piece. Okay, I can center this here. This is very thin. And of course it should be a lot more in this direction. Good, so now what I need to do, I need to put an array in the center of this geometry here, and then sort of like array this geometry all around. Hi Carlo, how are you? I cannot see all the comments. I am very, very professional, Irma. You can scream it out loud. So where is the array? I forgot. Array, there it is. Okay, so let's center the array. Actually, let's center the array to this geometry. Let me convert this geometry. Let me get rid of this element. I leave this 𝘀𝗀𝗃 on its own, and I will center the array to the 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Okay, good. So the array is on its own, the cube is there. Let's try and put this inside the array. What is happening? Great. So the array is too big. We gotta shrink it. And this needs to be very close to the edge, huh? Doesn't it? What is like here? Yes, okay. This might as well be a render, guys, you know? So, yeah, we're actually copying this, not from a real photo, but from a rendering. 76, but I only need 3 copies. So let's make 3 copies. Actually, 2 copies, because the array consider the base elements for what it is. And very important, I'm going to fillet this. Fillet subdivisions. Let's make 4, and let's make this a little bit bigger. 3, perfect. Let's look at it in real life. Okay, awesome. The cube needs to be smaller in one direction. Let me see. 10, is it this direction? Nope. It's in this direction. 5, let's see. 5. Great. Let's make it even smaller. Let's make it 2. And now it's barely coming out from the geometry. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, I'm gonna convert the array so that all the geometries are editable, if you like. actually, I need to convert also the geometry. This element, I'm going to grab the points that create the element, and I'm gonna move them, say 5 centimeters in that direction. So this looks like an arrow, but the arrow, it's actually a lot shorter. So let's push it upward 5 centimeters. And it's okay that it's a little bit skewed up here. Let me shrink it down. Oh no, that's wrong. Don't do that. Don't do that. 3D police, if you're looking, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's do it like this. Perfect. Fantastic. I'm also gonna reduce the fong of this geometry to 20. Right click and say, oops, right click and say, let me select them, right click and say, connect objects and delete. I'm gonna get rid of the, and so I'm going to make, I'm gonna keep these separate as of now, because they all gonna have different materials. Okay, good. I think we can now we can start with the rendering. What do you say? I have 15 minutes to render this. It's gonna be a challenge. Good, let's create a couple of materials. First of all, let's turn Corona. Let's make the render a little bit bigger so that we can see what is happening. And let's create a base material, which actually, let me create first a light. Let me go to Corona, Corona Sky. And I'm gonna create a Corona material. And in the material, I'm going to use a texture. Let's see, I should have some HDRI somewhere. Hello, yes, textures, HDRIs, studios, and usually when I do a studio, I use something like this, dotted with spots. Let's see what happens. Open. No, I don't want to save it. And I'm going to copy the same inside the self-illumination tab. And then I'm gonna simply drag and drop this material inside the sky. Get rid of the Corona tag, right click, Corona tags, Corona compositing, and I don't want this to be seen by the camera. I'm also gonna hide it, and now if I right click, Corona, 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 camera. If I render this, what happens? What happens? What happens? What happens? Good, so it looks like sort of like our geometry. We can play around a little bit with the polygons to fit the rest, but as you can see, we're there. It's not far-fetched from what we have here. It's okay. We can deal with this. Good. Let's stop the render. And I'm going to create a Corona plastic material. The diffuse, this looks sort of like greenish bluish. So I'm gonna place my color somewhere around here. Give it a few points of blue and make it a little bit lighter, like 80%. This might be a little bit too much, we'll see. I'm gonna switch on the reflections. I'll leave the IOR as it is. Maybe make this a little bit less gloss, maybe 70%. And I'm going to drop this inside the base geometry. Right click, cubic mapping. Yeah, I'll leave it as a default, it doesn't matter. And actually I'm going to do the same with all the pieces of geometry. With the pezzettine, with the cube, and that's it, right? Oh no, there is also the cylinder, which I think it's the same material, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing I think it's this metal here that it's a little bit different. So I'm gonna call this base, then I'm gonna make a copy, and I'm gonna call this 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗹𝗶𝗃. In the diffuse, I'm going to raise a little bit the color, maybe make it slightly darker. And the reflection, I'm gonna leave it as it is. So in 𝘀𝗶𝗃, very good. Let me fix the geometry because at the moment it's a little bit. So what I have to do, I have to change the appearances of this element and this element. So 𝘀𝗃 and cylinder. Let me select the control points, and then I can scale this just in 2 directions. And in theory, should keep the same proportions. Let's see if I'm right. Let's make a render. Beautiful, but I have to say, and I have to be honest with myself, this is way too light. Way too light. That means that I have to reduce the diffuse. Let's make it 65% maybe. And I'll do the same with this thing. Let's go 60%. Yes, I have 10 minutes to finish this. Let's see if we can do it. A lot better. Okay, good. But it's too reflective. I have the feeling that this is too reflective. It's all too reflective. So in the reflection, we're gonna lower the reflection to 75. And actually, we're going to give it also a little bit of greenish in the reflection. And I'll do the same for this other guy. 75% and a little bit of color. Let me re-render. I feel like from the light that I'm getting, hold on, let me fix a little bit the tone mapping. Let's reduce a little bit the saturation, minus 0.1, a lot better. And what else do we do? Let's raise the contrast a little bit. 3. Okay, I like this a little bit better. Let's stop it. Let's fix the geometry a little bit, because I have the feeling that this whole wheel is actually too, it's not good. So take, hold on, E, let's center everything. Okay, so this is not center, so what we need to do, we need to create a null. I'm going to take this null and center it to the center of this geometry. And then we're going to take all these elements, put them inside this null. And then in the null, I can now scale this slightly. And this should make it look a little bit better. Yes, a lot better. Now, there are the numbers here missing, and also it needs to be a lot more dirty, and eventually maybe we should change a little bit the color. Maybe this is not the right color. Maybe the right color is somewhere around the brownish space. Sorry, I changed it for the reflections. I wanted to change it for the diffuse. Maybe this is the right call. Let's see. Stop, render. This is a little bit more similar. So a little bit more similar, but we need a lot more of these imperfections. Also, I need to put the numbers there. Okay, so let's stop the render. Let's create a brand new material. Corona, new material. I'm running out of time. Diffuse, load image. I have prepared an image yesterday because, as I told you, I was already experimenting with this. There you go. No, I don't want to save it. And then in the opacity, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to load an image and put this transparency that I've created. No, I don't want to do that. And then I'm gonna drop it into this base geometry as an additional material. I'm going to say I want this to be a flat projection. And as a flat projection, it's already falling almost in the right place. Let me fix it here. Display quick shading lines. I want this to be not tiled. Why don't I see it? Maybe it's because my preview it's not high enough. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I put it in the wrong geometry. Sorry. There it is. And so now all I have to do is scale it up and kind of try to center it. So where is the 0? The 0 is that direction, so I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees. I'm pleasantly surprised this is already fitting in the way that it's supposed to. But the only thing is that if I now render this, this is going to come out render super clean, and this is not the situation as it is. This should be damaged in a way, right? And so let's stop the render. Let's create in the opacity a layer. And in the layer, I'm going to put a shader, a noise shader. The noise shader is going to be set to multiply. And this multiply, it's go. Oops, I created another layer. That's not what I wanted. This multiply, sorry, this noise is going to have. Wait, am I still rendering? No. It's going to have a high contrast. It's going to have a much smaller scale, 20% maybe. There you go. And it's set to multiply. So now, in theory, if I render this, we might be able to see it a little bit damaged. Yes, exactly. That might be a little bit too much. It's okay, we'll leave it like this for now because I want to add a layer of dirt around the whole radio. Let's stop the render. Let's create another Corona material, new material. In the diffuse, I'm going to load an image. Let's see, in my text folder, I'm gonna put this general grunge. No, I don't want to save it. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna have an opacity layer. And this opacity layer, it's going to have a noise inside. The noise is going to have high contrast so that it's not present everywhere. The diffuse actually needs to be mixed together with the color from the base material, which at the moment it's not correct. I understand that, but we can fix that later. Copy and put this in here. Paste. Very good. And in the opacity, I'm going to layer a couple of those noises. Why did I make this so big? Why am I wasting time with this nonsense? Layer. I'm gonna put another noise. This noise needs to have, of course, again, high contrast. Maybe have a different seed. Different scale, maybe 20%. Maybe 30%. A little bit better. And I'm going to make one more layer. Another noise. And this noise is going to have, I don't know, 6. with the global scale. Let's try 1000 maybe. Is it set to, they're set to normal. That's the problem. Multiply. And so you see now it's not everywhere, it's just in little places. Great. So I'm going to take this and actually drop it on the base geometry. Again, I'm going to say cubic. Let's see how big it is. Let's scale it up a little bit. And I'm actually going to do the same for also like this element here. Although that element, I would like to also have sort of a dirt, you know, to kind of have this effect here. But anyway, let's just render and let's see how this comes out, because I have a phone call in a minute. Oh, this is way too much. But anyway, it's there. It's good. We just need to make it a little bit more, less evident. Still too much. Let's turn it down to 1. And actually, let's make also this to multiply. Stop and re-render. This is not changing. Why is it not changing? Okay, maybe we'll add another shader to this layer. I want to have another noise, and I want this also to be wait, what is happening here? No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Remove. I want to have shader noise, and this noise I want it to be to multiply. And in this case, if I make it less, yes, if I make it less bright, then this is going to be even more transparent. And so this should fix the issue. Good, so now we have only like little damages here and there. We need a little bit of dirt, because the dirt is what defines the geometry. A little bit more. We need to put like black material on the element there, and we also need to create a bigger gap between these elements. Let's just do it. The person that is supposed to be calling me is not calling me, so let's keep going until I get the call. There we go. So that element down there, I can actually move back and say delete this geometry here. I can in theory select the geometry inside, whoops, and pull it back further. It's creating some sort of stretch. Oh, okay, I see, because there is another geometry. Okay, let me isolate this for a second. Uh-oh, I see what I did here. That is wrong. Control Z, isolate this. Great. So what I can do, I can select this whole thing, and now I can move it back. There we go. Let me isolate this, right click, close polygon holes. And now if I really want to make this actually all of these points, I don't need them. Rectangular, only visible selection. There we go. And so only these points are selected. T to scale them down. Right click, optimize, and the point disappeared. Now what I can do, I can take this geometry alone, create a Corona black material. Whoops, black material. And just drop it at the back. And I can right click, split, delete this face. Whoops. Delete the face at the back. And just take this UR. And now you should be able to see these elements. I can right click objects. No, wrong. T to make them a little bit smaller. And maybe I also make a little bevel here inside. UL. Select this geometry. MS. And maybe take this geometry and make it a little bit, pop out a little bit more. Now, the thing that it's bothering me, it's the color. It doesn't look like a brown color. And I don't know why that is, but certainly it's not making me happy. Let's try with this. And let's maybe reset the contrast and the saturation to 0. This is a little bit more the way it's supposed to be. The only problem is that it seems to me like there is sort of a what do you want to call it? A kind of a fong that it's bothering me here. Let's stop this. Let's check the fong of this geometry, what it is. Maybe I need to put it down to 10. Maybe I need to put down the font tag also of these elements to 10 to make it look a little bit more flat. And also, like, this element in the center, it's way too small. It needs to be bigger. And so I'm going to select these elements, say T, and make them maybe 30% more. There we go. Okay, that looks still not right. I don't know what it is that it's making this look like if there was sort of a belly going through. Me not like it. I'll have to look into this. Maybe it is curved. Maybe I've done something wrong in the modeling. But anyway, the one thing that I noticed is that these elements, they should be a little bit fatter. Let's try and do that. And also, this is way too reflective. The base is way too reflective. Should be a lot less reflective, a lot more matte. And also that means probably lowering the glossiness value of it. Let's re-render. This looks a little bit better the way it's supposed to be. Okay, good. Right. Great. Okay, good enough. What do I want to do now? This is, of course, too blue. And I think I need to move in that direction. Yes. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm not really. Maybe add an edge loop near the edges of the circle. It's supposed to be there. And I cannot use Corona 5 because I still have issues with the installation. It's a little bit of a problem. Actually, now if I wanted to make this plastic really, really good, I would have to add a little bit of a surface scatter, which in Corona it's not a problem. How do you do this? You know, I don't remember how to do it. Corona, is there a material? Skin material? Now, maybe you do it with the translucency, or? Let's see, what happens if I just switch on the translucency? Does this look like something that could make it better? I have no idea. No, that's definitely not it. Hold on, maybe it's the wrong color that I'm using. Maybe it should be a lot brighter. I don't know, maybe that will make it more translucent. Maybe I need a little bit of the tint. Is there any Corona expert here? Because, as you can tell, you know, I'm not that ace of spade. Fraction, maybe that will fix it. Stop. That's one of the things that I like about Corona, is that there are some sliders and you can simply try and figure out things by clicking the buttons and see what happens. This looks a little bit more plasticky, to be honest. Obviously, there is something that I could do better. Let's try to lower this value and see what happens. Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, let me add to the color of the base. Is there a way for me in the diffuse to add? I guess I can add sort of like plugins Corona Corona ambient occlusion. Wasn't it ambient occlusion? That's what it's called. Let's do it in multiply and let's see what happens. Is there a max distance? Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So let's try with 1 centimeter. If this is acting as a multiplier, then I should be able to see sort of a where the edges meet. Yes. Okay, good enough. Then I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just going to add a black material to that arrow. And then we call it the day, because I think I have to... I could improve the light, you know. This is also a question of like how the light looks like in this very image. But bear in mind that I've done everything from scratch, and so, you know, it's it might take a little bit of trial and error. Let me make a copy of this material. I'm going to change the color to like very dark plastic. And then in the cube element, I'm just going to select this geometry and add this material. Ooh, no, wrong. What have I done, man? I just want to add this. There we go. And the rest stays as it is. Actually, these elements, they should be a little bit thicker, right? You agree with me, right? Are you agreeing with me? Say yes. Yes. So, LR, I'm going to rotate the gizmo. TL, and squeeze this up, say 150. Great, I'll do the same there. Select everything. LR, I'm gonna rotate the gizmo. TL, and 150. Good. Let's see what happens now. Let's re-render. Actually, you know, since I'm rendering with this sky, I don't really have control on what the sky says. Let me lower a little bit the self-illumination multiplier. Actually, I'll leave it like this. Let me put a light right in front of this geometry. So corona light E. I'll move a light in front. Something like this. I'll move it way at the back. Actually, if I look at this picture, the light is coming from the side. What the hell are you doing, Fabio? What the hell are you doing? So this is on top. I'll turn the light in this direction, more or less. And I'm gonna tell the light, please exclude my subdivision surface. Well, actually, my cube. Let's put them there. I don't know if I have to do one or the other. And the light, probably it's also coming from above, so I'm just gonna put it up here. Actually, one other way to do it would be to give a target to the light and then you can just move it freely, but it's okay. It's an extra light. I want to see what happens if I put a light there. Yes, this looks a little bit better because now we're getting also sort of like these highlights, and this looks a lot more realistic than it did before. We could, in theory, raise the strength of the of that geometry, of that light, and reduce the strength of the main light. Let's try and do that and see what happens. So the self-illumination we could do 0.5, and then the corona light we make it a little bit warmer, and then maybe 75. Let's re-render and see what happens. Ooh, way too yellow, way too yellow. Wait, stop. Abort. 6%. Render. Hey Ollie, what's happening, man? I just leached some good material of a model and work from there. Yes, maybe that would be a way to do it. To me, this is still a little bit too reflective. As a material, it would need a little bit of tuning, and also, like, if you look at the original image, the color is still not perfect, but we're moving in the right direction. And also, like, one of the problems, as I can see it here, and I don't see the person that it's supposed to be calling me, they're not calling me, is that the material doesn't have any bump, and the surface, it's very, very flat, and this is a problem. So let's try and fix this bump. I'll put a noise. I'll scale down the noise to like 20. I'm going to raise the contrast a little bit, and I'm going to, let's see what happens if I make it kind of like very high bump. Wait, I think that for the bump to work in Corona, you have to drop this inside a Corona normal, or am I wrong? I don't know, I don't remember anymore. It's been a long time since I was making images, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. What is happening here? What is happening? No. No. Let's try by reducing this. Let's see what happens. 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%. It kind of gives a little bit of a variation to the texture. It's still too big, I think, so maybe what we need to do, stop the render, is, what if I use this without, what if I just use in the bump the noise? Sorry, bump. What happens if I do that? Does it work? Global scale 10. Maybe make it even, oops, more contrasty. Let's see. Yes, you can see the imperfection on the, I don't know if you can see it in the stream, but it kind of looks okay. The only thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to make the diffuse a little bit less saturated and maybe slightly lighter. That's all. Render. Maybe if I adjusted the light to be a little bit more greenish, we might be able to get somewhere closer. Let me see. Corona light. Yes, this looks a little bit more the way it's supposed to. Good. Yeah, okay. Then once I get to this stage, usually what I would do, I would probably post-produce the image a little bit, add some noise, make it a little bit more out of focus, because, you know, sometimes the lens of a camera, it's not super clean. I still think that the geometry should be optimized a little bit. There is something that is going on that I'm not seeing. I don't really know what it is, but it gives me a feeling that this geometry is a little bit too rounded for my own taste. But I think it's okay. I think it's a good exercise. Anyway, guys, I gotta wrap this up because I have supposedly a phone call to make, and I'm gonna try and reach out to my client to see if they're still willing to have that phone call. This was not a video with which I wanted to teach you anything. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time working on something, experimenting, trying different things, because it's fun, you know. And I'm working on something which is going to be the next challenge, which I would like to have with you guys. I'm gonna upload a model, share it with you guys, and then I'm gonna ask you to make a rendering, and then maybe give you some money for the competition as a prize or something. But anyway, I just wanted to wish you a fantastic day. Thanks a lot for watching my video, for spending a little bit of time with me, and mwah. Give you a big kiss. Mwah. Bye-bye. Bye.